Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I've always wanted to see a female predator.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Predators, which came out in 2010. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows a group of soldiers, mercenaries, and gangsters who have been dropped onto an alien planet to be hunted by predators. The group is led by Adrien Brody, who plays Royce, and they realize they're not on Earth anymore. We also come to learn that there are two different clans of predators on this planet.
We've waited a long time for a worthy Predator sequel. Not looking at the AVP films. The AVP films took a royal shit on the Predator franchise. They really did. They almost destroyed it. And for me, I was excited to see that Robert Rodriguez was attached to make the third Predator film.
Right.
Looking at his previous work, including Desperado, El Mariachi, and of course From Dusk Till Dawn, and the Spy Kids movies. I was hoping for an outrageous, over-the-top action film. And when this film came out in 2010, I got exactly what I wanted to going into the theater.
Don't. Calm down.
Hey, fuck you!
Calm down.
Fuck you!
Adrien Brody as a lead for a Predator film, I thought it was an interesting choice, especially if you look at the first film. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger, and who really is going to fill those shoes, which is why they chose the everyday, LA cop for the second film.
Yeah.
So choosing Adrien Brody, who's come off the back of such successes as The Pianist,
King Kong,
given he had more of an action scene in that, I really enjoyed him in Splice.
Yeah.
So he was an odd choice for this one. Of course, we also get Machete. I'm going to consider this one Machete's twin brother.
Yeah.
Because he's also named after another knife.
Like Gary said, I was very excited for this film. The fact that they've, brought out Predators. And I'm like, oh, Robert Rodriguez is attached to it. Ooh, it's going to be set on a strange alien planet. Ooh. And then I sit down and watch it, and I'm like, really? This is just a rehash of the first one. Pretty much. I mean, the opening sequence is pretty good. You've got Adrien Brody falling with a parachute on his back, waking up, free fall. You've got that wide shot of him on this weird jungle, outlook.
You've got the sort of original music from Predator playing.
Yeah, you've got the original music playing, and he lands, and he starts to meet up or is introduced to the other characters that are going on. Like you said, we've got Machete's twin brother, played by Danny Trejo. We've got Oleg Takharov playing Nikolai, the big guy with the minigun. You've got Alice Brugier playing Isabel, the girl with the sniper rifle. You've got some escaped convict. You've got a black guy from Sierra Leone. You've got some Yakuza soldier as well. And, I was interested. I was like, oh, okay, so you've got these different types of characters coming together, forming this squad, going into a jungle, being hunted by... Oh, really?
Well, I mean, I like that setup because, in the first film, you've got a crack team of mercenaries. They've got the chemistry. They've worked with each other. They've been on all these missions together. So they've got that kick-ass attitude. In the second film, it's a group of cops or it's a group of terrorists or what have you. But the focus isn't really on them. Whereas this third film, it's like it takes that setup from the first one.
Yes.
But it's taken different people from all the different walks of life so that they're all badasses in their own field.
Yeah.
And, they don't have to work with each other. They don't have to be that team from the first one.
No, they don't.
They could have all just turned on each other, which,
Motherfucker! Come on, you motherfucker!
That happens in the film anyway, which is fine because it is a hunting ground, as we soon learn to figure out. And so, yeah, they don't all know each other, but they sort of, work with each other for the betterment of, survival.
Well, this is it. They have their strength in numbers attitude, and they all realise that they've all ended up in the same spot. And so they should work together to find out who or what has put them in this situation. But my problem is that the only people who are actually going to go and see this film are Predator fans. And if you're a Predator fan, you should at least know what is going to happen.
Exactly. As a Predator fan, when you see all these people dropped on this on a planet,
yeah.
I mean, I keep saying that now because, okay, I'm just going to jump later. We're not on Earth.
yeah. It's a game reserve.
It's a game reserve, so it's a hunting ground. So these people are dropped onto this planet and they're being hunted. As a Predator fan, you know the Predator is watching them.
Yes.
Now, the film, it has a very generic setup other than that, because there's so many films where you have a group of survivors waking up with each other and having no idea how they got there. And so the film sort of pushes that undertone of the film down, and the character of Royce just seems to have had the script in his back pocket. Because whenever anyone asks what's going on, he's like, wait a sec, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I'm Adrien Brody, I'm the badass. It's like, all right, Adrien, okay.
Between that and the sun, I'd say we have a real problem.
What about the sun?
Hasn't moved since we got here.
What I like about that is that it tells the members of the audience that don't know what's going on, and it also moves the pacing forward.
Yeah, that works. This film has an original feel for people who have never seen any Predator movies before. You can sit down and watch Predators, and it will ease you in, and it maybe make you want to go back and see what they're talking about when they talk about, what happened in the jungle.
Well, that's one of the things I really like, is that they reference what happened in the previous film.
Do you want to go there?
Yes, let's go there.
Okay, we're going to go there. Right. One thing that really fucking pisses me off is when you have a series and you fucking disallow one of the films. She talks about Isabel at one point. Isabel's probably like your smart female Ripley / character, and she briefs everybody on the debriefing of Arnie.
Mm-hmm.
She actually sits there and goes, well, there was a group of crack soldiers who went into the jungle and they all got wiped out by this thing that we've never seen before, but I already know about it. And, he managed to kill one by covering his body in mud and hiding his heat signature from this thing. How the fuck does she know that?
Maybe she watched the film before they kidnapped her.
Exactly. There's the only way I could figure out that Isabel knew the info from 87 was that she had been briefed and she was actually supposed to be captured by the Predator so that she could study it or get information back to her government about the different types of predators.
See, I always felt that she worked for the same company that was in Predator 2. Now, I know that Predator 2 is not even mentioned or brought up in this film, but I know the inclination or the ideas for a character from Predator 2 would have appeared in this one, along with a character from the first film, if any of the original actors were interested in returning to the franchise, which I don't think they are.
But this is my point. She doesn't even bring up LA, and I'm like, hold on, you can't just ignore that. We've been following this series for nigh on 25 years. Even if you don't want to go into detail of it, don't ignore it, because Predator 2 set you up for Predators. Reading up on the notes for this film, Rodriguez wrote the script for Predators back in 94.
Yeah.
And it would have possibly have worked back in 94 I think he wanted it to be the sequel for what Aliens was for Alien.
Yeah.
Okay, that works, but Predator 2 came first.
Yeah.
So you have to at least acknowledge Predator 2. And like I said, Isabel's just like, I don't know nothing about LA, but I know fucking everything about Central America.
87 Guatemala. A spec ops team went into the jungle. High end. 6 men plus a CIA liaison. Only one made it out. In his debrief, he said they came in contact with something. He gave a detailed description.
This film has far too many references to the original film. Like we said, we've got the music, we've got the setting, we've got the group of characters, we've got a big guy with a fucking minigun.
I've got to say, that minigun is awesome.
Yes, it is. But, you know, he's just been dropped out of a plane. He must have been falling like a motherfucker. He's carrying a minigun plus all that ammo in his back. You know? You see that part with Chichillo, I think it is, and Royce. Mm-hmm. And they're about to kill each other, and then that guy just hits the floor, and they're like, his chute didn't open. And then you got this fuck off giant minigun carrying motherfucker. You know, who what? Had 3 of them? No wonder this guy died.
He took his parachute.
He took his parachute. You know, the film starts to carry on, and you know we start to get hints that there are other things on this planet. You know, we start to see cages being set up.
You know, I got excited as soon as I saw those cages. Because you look at the skin or the remains that are laying in the cage, and I'm just like, xenomorphs. Is there aliens on this game preserve? I mean, we already know that predators like to hunt the xenomorph. Sadly, there's no xenomorphs, which is a good thing. But at the same time, as an Alien fan, I just keep going, oh, maybe the alien. I just want to know that the alien is somewhere on the planet.
Yeah,
even if it doesn't show up.
Instead, they end up fighting this thing.
Well, they set up an elaborate trap, so much so that it's this guy run through the woods and we'll shoot it if we see it.
Wait! Before that, Royce comes up with the idea of, hey, let's hold up and build traps, just like they did in the first movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it can see our traps, so we need to send Edwin out to get as
lure
bait.
It out.
It's like. Okay, go with that.
Interestingly, the creature that that they are attacked by that came out of those cages is one of the original designs for the very original Predator, which they couldn't afford to do at the time. So they decided, we'll just borrow that alien makeup creature effect, and here we go.
Yeah, and it works. And before we get to what that leads to, because it will really kill the fucking review, these guys start to realize that there are other things on this planet, and they get hunted by the dogs, don't they?
Well, they come across a dead soldier. They realize they see all these other traps and realize that this has been going on for a while.
The trap sequence, just like Predator.
The trap sequence goes off, and they all manage to avoid these elaborate traps. And you know, I'm kind of like, who? At first, I was like, are these Predator traps? And then you realize, they're human-made traps to capture predators. Of course, none of them worked because this guy's dead. And then you're right. And then we're introduced to a new creature, and it looks like these are predators' pet dogs.
Yeah.
And even though they're completely CGI, I like the look of them.
Yeah, they
especially
well.
when they're running straight at them, and of course it's just an excuse for all of our main characters to all fire their guns off at once.
Yeah,
you know, a la Predators.
Yeah,
a Predator.
They end up getting split off, and Royce explains, this is why this is a hunting reserve, because, If it was me, I would have sent the dogs in. I would have flushed you out. And lo and behold, they've separated us. And this is where the film starts to take a really cliched horror motif. You know, Danny Trejo disappears. And if you know Danny Trejo, he dies a lot. And amazingly, he's dead in this. But it's set up that you don't actually think he's dead. It's the predator trying to lure them to capture him. And the predator starts mimicking the voice. And I'm just like, okay, we're starting to flashback again to the first film. I, as a Predator fan, know it's a Predator. I've known since the fucking opening title came up that it's Predators. So you're just kind of building this up, you know, for people who don't know. You know, you're waiting for the big shock appearance. Well, after Predator 2, I didn't need any shock appearances. I just wanted to see more Predators.
Help.
Danny Trejo is killed, and like I said, horror cliche, they come along with the black guy being killed when they come to the village. And the village sequence is nice because there's the reveal that the predator that we are so used to seeing is actually a prisoner. And he's actually being held captive by 3 predators from a different clan who look superb. I'll admit, they do look a hell of a lot different than any other predators that we've seen ever before.
They're kind of recognizable. Each one has their own trait, the different sort of helmet. Or,
yeah.
So we got the guy with the tusks. We got the guy who I call Shredder with the big sort of the mask, and then you've got the jawbone one who seems to be the group leader.
Yeah. I think it was Predator Falconer because he had that weird little
flying drone.
Yeah, the drone thing. Then you had the Predator Hunter with the dog things, and then you had the Predator Berserker because he was always so angry.
I guess you made it.
Yeah. He seemed angry.
And like I said, similarities again. The black guy gets killed. Royce flushes out these 3 predators, and they go running down the really long mudslide into the water. Mm-hmm. A la Predator.
Yeah, except it's just all the characters going off the cliffside into the water this time. And I like the conversation that ensues when they get out of the water. It's sort of, that's when, you know, they exchange the information. That's when she explains about everything that happened.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, that's it. That all of the characters in the film now need to have all the information they need to know. And what I like is that they decide that, you know, they're going to have a plan of attack. It's like, you know, we're going to set up this defensive position. We're going to have covering fire, and we're going to wipe out all the predators. I'm like, brilliant action plan. Let's get into this.
These things climb trees.
Yeah.
Isabel should know these things climb trees, so laying traps all on the floor.
Well, it makes no difference anyway, because as soon as they come up with this elaborate, you know, trap that they're going to spring, Laurence Fishburne turns up and ambushes all of them.
Morpheus. Okay, I like Laurence Fishburne. I like him in Boys in the Hood and The Matrix. He was alright in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing in a Predator movie? You could have had fucking anybody. Okay, no, possibly nobody would have come back to the franchise. But as soon as he turns up, I know he's a really good actor, but it's just pointless. You know, he manages to sneak up on them, a la Predator, turn around, over here. He's been here for 10 seasons. He's killed at least 3 Predators, taken their weaponry, and he's holding up in this giant mining thing on the planet.
It's a big ship, isn't it?
Yeah, but it says it's like a mine. It says it's like a mining ship. That the power core still works, but the machines doesn't work. And he explains, to further progress the story, he explains the difference between the predators. The smaller ones that are the ones that are being tied up, and the larger ones have come down and they jockey for dominance over this planet. And it's like, oh, okay, then right, that explains it. Then he goes to sleep. While everybody is resting, he decides to fill the room up with smoke and kill them for their stuff.
He's a scavenger. He wants what we have!
Now, why? You have a massive room full of grenades and mines and swords and armor.
Body armor, exactly.
Plasma weaponry. You have everything you need.
But he says he doesn't want to feed them.
Yeah. Yet he does feed them when they come in. He says, look, here's some food. And I start to question, so more people you must have found other people to take their stuff. So you must have killed these people and then turned them into soup. So Adrien Brody is eating somebody.
Gross. And so Adrien Brody decides, well, fuck everybody. I'm just going to let the predators know exactly where we are.
Yeah.
And he takes a shot off, and the predators soon see the heat signature somewhere on the ship. And Laurence Fishburne's like, well, I best get out of here then, and I best leave all of my predator technology behind and all of my senses behind, because obviously he survived all this time, and yet he decides to just run straight into a predator.
And explodes. I mean, that's the thing that I couldn't understand either. The predator he comes across has a rapid-fire plasma cannon, which is quite a cool design. You know, just multiple shots over and over. Everybody else gets hit by the predator plasma cannon and gets back up.
Yeah, I was wondering that throughout the film. I was like, Laurence Fishburne gets hit once and he explodes.
Oh, finally found me, huh, big dog? Well, what took you so long?
And he gets liquefied. Completely. Yeah, we see other people get shot in the back and they just go, whee, flying across the screen. Or, it's like, well, does he just not power up the shot long enough? Or, I don't know.
Yeah. It did, like I said, it just starts to get more cliched after that. The build up towards the ending, the Russian guy who has already explained to us that he has children, that is a death mark. It doesn't matter who you are, that is a death mark for you, is killed. And he gives his life for the doctor.
Of all of the characters, he was the sweetest one of them all. I mean, he was the one who showed... He was the only character, really, that shown a lot of compassion for other people. I mean, granted, he is a soldier, and he is, from the front lines, and he's seen a lot of shit, yet he seemed like the only one who's really retained any humanity, because he doesn't lie to anyone, and he's willing to sacrifice himself for the others. Granted, Isabella has some of those characteristics, but it was really the Russian guy that I felt the most attached to throughout the film. And so when it came to him sacrificing himself, it was like, it was a noble thing to do, but yet, man, he kills a predator.
Рожа у тебя.
I mean, Isabella, like you said, she's got those bits, but she's always backed up by Royce.
Well,
Royce is like her little lover. The two of them are...
No, not really, because I think she does not like him. And,
she's going to warm to him.
Well, she knows that he's right, but at the same time, he's a dick about it throughout the film. The way he uses them. He doesn't even care for any of them. That's the thing. And so that's why, Dutch in the first film, you can identify him with him as the hero. In the second film, Harrigan, your everyday man, you're seeing all the shit he's got to put up with. You can identify with him. In the third film, you got Royce, and he is just, I'm badass incarnate. I'm just, do what I say. do what I do, and he doesn't care for the other people, and that makes him not your hero.
No,
makes him not the guy you want to see survive. Isabella, on the other hand, you do, and for me, I'm just like, she's the main character in this film. It's not Royce, it's her.
Yeah. Like you said, it follows on. The Russian guy gets blown up, and then the prisoner, who you've kind of wanted to die pretty much throughout the film, has just been killed as well.
Well, I mean, he gets the whole thing where he's like, yeah, we killed a predator, and you're just like, he's bouncing and jumping around all over the place. So I'm like, and it's straight away, blasted across.
Just dead. I mean, there's a sequence, like I said, similarities to the first one. Stan's bitch raping line. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna go home out of this, and I'm gonna do so much cocaine, and I'm gonna just rape a shitload of bitches.
You know, man, if we ever make it home, I'm gonna do so much fucking cocaine. I'm gonna rape so many fine bitches. Be like, what time is it? 5 o'clock? Damn. Time to go rape me some fine bitches. You know what I'm saying?
Now, first time I saw this, it kind of made me laugh, but it was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Because, well, you know, the subject he's talking about. Then, after multiple times of watching it, I've realised that this is just a rip-off of the lines from Predator. You have Blaine and Mac sat there talking about the jungle, you know? And then later on, when Blaine is killed, Mac is sat with the body, and he's talking about how he's going to carve his name into the Predator's heart. The bitch raping line is just pretty much Predator's version of that. And I'm like, it's just another similarity. It makes me just, too many of these similarities makes me want to just go back and watch the first one. You then have the Samurai's showdown with the Predator.
Well, I mean, you know, it was kind of set up. You got this Yakuza guy, and he doesn't have hardly any lines of dialogue. The few lines of dialogue he does have, I really like.
Yeah,
and it was the fact that he spoke too much, which is the reason why he doesn't speak. I like his first introduction where he takes his shoes off and puts his feet into the soil to get a feel for where he is.
That is cool. It builds up his character really well. But, like I said, as a fan of the Predator series and of films in general, when you have a guy working for the Yakuza, he's probably going to be good with a sword.
And lo and behold,
he finds a sword. And lo and behold, he finds literally the perfect environment to have a samurai showdown with a Predator who happens to have one wrist blade, like a sword. Oh.
Well, I mean, I got excited at that point because, you know, you look back at Predator 1 and you've got Billy with his machete, and and you're waiting for to see something happen, and it cuts away and you hear him screaming. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Predator 2, you got King Willie. He's got a sword and he's about to fight the Predator in the streets of LA, and cuts away and he's decapitated. So in Predator 3, it's setting up those shots again. You're expecting it to cut back to Royce, and you're going to hear the Yakuza guy screaming. No. We actually get a showdown, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it felt like a good standoff.
Yeah, but the fact that we've got 3 Predators,
two at this point,
2 left, yeah, one with tusks and dogs, who we haven't really seen do much and get killed by a Russian guy. Mm-hmm. Then we've got the Falconer, who hasn't really done much and gets killed by the Yakuza guy. Mm-hmm. And then we end up with just the last one. So you've built up these 3 Predators, 2 of them that have pretty much not done anything and just been killed.
Yeah.
And now we're just going to follow the big dog, as Morpheus likes to call him.
Well, so Royce comes up with the great idea that the enemy of my enemy is my... Fuck you, Alien versus Predator! What the fuck? Why did you have to go and do that?
Similarities. I fucking told you. The similarities. There's even that line later on where Isabella's like, oh, if it comes down to it, I'll do us both. Heard that from a film? Oh. And it's just... I'm not going to get too upset because there are some really cool things in this film. It's just, like I said, as a Predator fan and seeing all the stuff from the Predator lore, you have the Doctor. I know you were about to bring up Royce saving the Predator, but let's save that bit. That's a good bit.
Okay.
We have the Doctor character. Now, this guy is playing innocent all the way through the film, and I'm just going to chuck this in as well. If you haven't seen Predators and you feel like we're spoiling too much, then turn this review off now, go watch it and come back. if you have seen it or just want to know what happens, the Doctor is the most nicest, innocent guy throughout the whole 50 minutes of the movie. And I sit there like, I don't fucking trust you. No predator would drop an unarmed, innocent person onto this planet to hunt. He wouldn't even use you as bait for the other guys because it would take away the thrill of the hunt. So when it turns out that the Doctor is a mass murderer from Earth who wants to live with the predators because he feels at home among the monsters, I'm just like, fuck's sake. Just, honestly, for me, it was too obvious. He was, apart from Morpheus turning up, the Doctor character was the downer of the film. Because I just wanted him to die all the way through the film in all the different situations that he was put in. But everybody else was risking their lives for him. Now I understand it harks into their humanity. Like Gary said, it harks into their compassion. You know, the Russian guy's protecting him. Isabella's protecting him. But that's a waste of their characters, that they're protecting this guy who's a bit more of a douchebag than Royce. And Royce is a dick, you know? So when it turns out that the Doctor is, I'm going to cut you, Isabella, and you're going to go for this neurotoxin stuff, and now you're paralyzed, and I'm going to torture you. I'm like, somebody kill this fucker. Where's the Predator? Where's Royce? Somebody just drop a rock on his head, because I just don't want to see him anymore.
Fuck! All of you!
Going back to what Gary was saying, though, the cool bit with Royce turning up and saving the original Predator. You know, the original Predator seeing the Berserker Predator and standing in front of Royce and saying, look, this is down to me and him. It's like, yeah, this is a cool bit. This is what we did want to see in the film. We want to see predators and we want to see them fight. And it's a badass sequence. Okay, the one that's tied up is a bit weak. He's a bit tired. He's a hell of a lot smaller. And the outcome of the match is only really one way. But it still is cool. The fact that you see their cloaking technology whacking off of each other. You see their blades clanging off of each other. And I do generally feel bad when the original Predator gets decapitated. Because I'm like, oh man, you know,
he put up a good fight, and
yeah,
it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if it had gone differently.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, Royce is kind of, he could have helped, he could have stayed back and helped, but he's just like, you know what, fine, I'm going to get out to that ship and get the fuck out of here.
I'm just going to go, and I'm like, well, bye, Adrien Brody, bye. But the Predator, you know, kills the Berserker Predator, kills the original Predator, blows up the ship remotely, so he must have known somebody was going to try and use it to escape.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering how it was just like, oh yeah, someone stole my ship, I'm just going to blow it up and strand myself here now. I was like, well, maybe if he's got, you know, if he can blow it up from remotely, do you think he could have remotely piloted it back down from where he was? I don't know.
He could have just landed it, but he decides to go back, and Royce, surprise, has not left and decided to go back for Isabella.
So he's gone completely against his own character type.
Yes, even though it looked completely obvious that he was going for the ship.
Oh, so now I'll accept him as the hero of the film, okay.
Yeah, right. And now he comes back to save Isabella because male and female characters, she's like the virginal one. And like I said, he realizes that the Doctor is evil, so he sets the Doctor up with a bunch of grenades, and then it's just a fucking replicant of the ending of the first movie. He covers himself in mud and uses his speed, because he's made that obvious throughout the film that he's really fast. And you've got to say it like that. I'm really fast.
You are a good man after all.
No. I'm not. But I'm fast.
Really quick. And he beats the Predator down.
Well, actually, I'm going to say, he doesn't single-handedly defeat the Predator. The Predator beats him.
Oh, yeah.
And then Isabella saves his ass after some of the neurotoxins worn off. So I'm like, okay, yeah, the two of them managed to take the Predator down.
Yeah. Kind of harks for me, that sequence. It harked me back to RoboCop. She was Lewis picking up the cannon and firing off that final shot to help him.
Yeah.
And, he then cuts the Predator's head off, and now they're stuck.
But it's exciting because there's more parachutes opening up as people are falling.
Yeah, and I hope they make a second one.
I have a few favourite scenes in Predators. The opening introduction for me is an adrenaline ride. Like, from just waking up in free falling is got to be one of the most terrifying ways to wake up ever. And just them being dropped into the planet, I just thought that was great introduction. Just hit you with the music straight away. I'm like, I'm back in the Predator film franchise.
Yeah.
Very exciting. I love the Russian guy with the minigun when he's fighting the dog. I just wish I could have seen the dog being absolutely obliterated by the minigun. It kind of cuts away too quickly.
Yeah.
But my actual favourite shot in the film, and I think it's a shared one, it's when the San Quentin prisoner has been blasted by the shoulder cannon already.
Yeah.
And he's then taken for a trophy. And for me, I was just like, that's just fucking awesome.
There are a lot of good sequences in this film, but as a fan and somebody who's followed the franchise for a while, they are far too predictable. His death is probably my favourite sequence, just because he gets shot in the back and you think he's dead. And then he jumps up and he just starts fucking knifing the fucking Predator.
Yeah, and I'm sat there like, yeah. It's the same as when he's been fought by the dog.
Yeah,
and he's oh fuck, somebody give me a gun.
Yeah.
And yet when he's put down, he shows his natural instinct is a survivor like that. And, you kind of want to keep a distance from those people, but when they're in that situation, you're kind of with him.
Yeah.
You kind of like shank that thing.
Some of his lines are a bit harsh, but some of them are really funny. Like when he's questioning everybody for a gun. He's like, you've got 2 guns, you give me a gun. And nobody wants to give him a gun because they don't trust him.
Yeah.
And, there's that sequence where he does do the bitch raping line. And then the doctor gets up and sits next to the Russian. And the Russian goes, I don't think you should sit with him anymore. And you're just like, yeah, that's a good
I like the line he says to Isabella early in the film. She does have fine ass.
She does.
Your ass is awesome.
I do recommend Predators. It is just marginally, a little bit for me, a little bit better than the AVP movies. Just a bit, not that much. The AVP movies for me, not going to go into them now, but they do have some cool bits that I do like, and this film has some cool bits that I like. It also has some bits that I really don't like. There are too many references to the first movie. There are no references to the second movie, and it's just, in some sequences, far too predictable. If you've not ever seen any Predator movie ever, start with Predators and then go back and watch the other ones, and maybe it will all work. But for me, starting off with Arnie, that was badass. Predator 2 is actually a really personal favourite, and Predator 3, yeah, every now and again, I suppose.
I do recommend Predators, just as I recommend the entire Predators franchise.
Right.
It's really exciting monster movie. We get to see alien weapons, we get to see strange planets, we get bizarre creatures, and it's a good adventure movie in terms of trying to figure out what's going on, trying to work with each other, trying to overcome these predators, which are the ultimate hunters, and you're in their game preserve.
Yeah.
I really like that setup. Granted, it doesn't do much in terms of storytelling, because we get this setup of the 2 different warring predator clans, which goes nowhere. So there's a whole mythology waiting still to be explored with these predators, and this film is just another installment. It doesn't take the idea of this franchise anywhere. It just plays with what we've already had before.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. I have deep reservations about the Morpheus character. I've watched Predators through now about 6 or 7 times, and as soon as that character turns up, the pacing of this film just hits a brick wall. It goes nowhere for like 15 minutes, and then the action scenes that do come afterwards, as you've said, are so predictable. It's a paint the book by numbers. You're like, you're dead next, you're dead next, you're dead. It just falls apart at the seams. The first half of the film is an adrenaline rush. Absolutely fantastic. Up until the point where they plan to defeat the Predator. Plan goes out the window along with the rest of the film. There's a few nice shots. The cinematography is very nice.
Yeah,
the music is really good. I love the locations. The actors do a great job with not great characters. The actors are good. The characters a little bit weak.
Yeah.
On the whole, I think that it's the weakest of the Predator films, and it is light years better than the dreck that is the AVP films, which we will get to eventually.
Yay!
I have got a question, Iain, before we wrap things up, though.
What's that?
Who the hell abducted all these people? Do you think the Predators just went, we're going to take these people? Don't you think that was them hunting them then? If they'd captured them, didn't they just take them as trophies then? So who the hell captured all these people and then gave them to the Predators?
The Predators, they just came to the planet and went, we don't want to go on Earth anymore. Every time we go to Earth, we get killed.
So we'll take them to our planet.
So we'll take them to our planet, so we don't get killed. And then we end up getting killed by our own clans.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Go to town and Mary found Uncle John. He claimed he had the music, but he had a lot of fun. Oh, baby. Yeah, baby. Woo, baby. Having me some fun tonight. Yeah.
Come on. Come on. Come on.